This is going to be a spoiler review of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So I'm going to play this little clip so you can leave right now if you don't want the movie spoiled in any way.
Only the most broken people can be great leaders.
You still here? I'm surprised by that. The good news is I won't tell you any of the big surprises in the movie. I think you should watch the movie and see some of the big surprises. But I will be going over the general plot of the movie, talking about some things that I loved about the movie, some things that I didn't like so much, and the overall theme of the movie. So thanks for hanging in there and listening to me. But I'm not going to spoil your entire experience by telling you everything that happens in the movie. The first point that I think everybody wants to know is how do they address the death, the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman? And I'll be honest with you, we kind of heard this from leaks early on in the production. They treat his death the exact same way that he passed away in real life. They say it's from an unknown illness. It came on suddenly. He did not let anybody know about it, and it was too late to use their advanced technology to save him. And that's pretty much all they say about how he passed away. I think this is the I could be wrong, but I think this is actually the first movie where someone's real life passing is put in a that it's not like a documentary or biopic that's actually put in the movie as an actual plot point, a fictional passing, and it's the exact same thing. It was done as best as they could. I know some people that were at the screening with me was wondering why maybe they didn't go in a little bit more detail on how or why the Wakandas with the technology and the geniuses that they have couldn't find a way to cure him, or considering that at the last time that we saw T'Challa in Endgame, he was, the Black Panther. How could he get sick? But I think when you know the real life circumstances that happened, you kind of have to just let that go and realize this was the best that they can do under the circumstances. And then I would say for the first quarter of the movie, it's all about grief. This and it's kind of strange because it's not just fictional, grief. It's real, and that definitely comes across in the acting. I mean, that they're acting, but they really did lose their friend. They really did lose someone that they love, and it's really emotional. That first arc of the movie, I think, if the passing of Chadwick Boseman made you feel something, and when you watch the beginning of the movie, it's going to bring back all of those type of feelings, and I think it's well done. Like I said, it's a pretty much impossible circumstance to deal with. I don't think this particular type of circumstance has ever happened before, and they handle it real well in the first part of the movie. After that is kind of when the action picks up. So if you hear for like the fight scenes and the big battle scenes, you will get some of that. That's when Namor is introduced, his backstory is told a bit. You hear more about his kingdom and why he has beef with the surface world. I think it's well done. I think the actor that plays Namor, he's excellent. I think the character itself is excellent. It fits right in to the MCU. His motivations, I'll be honest with you, were a little flimsy and didn't really make much sense. But sometimes you just got to kind of let some of that go to enjoy the movie. His motivations are that Riri Williams, who going to end up being Ironheart, built a machine, just because that can pick up or read vibrate or find where vibranium is in the anywhere in the world. The Wakandans assumed that vibranium was only in Wakanda, but that's not true. It's where Namor kingdom is at. That's how his civilization, came about. And he doesn't want anybody to know about his people, where they live, and that they have vibranium. He wants them to be a secret to the entire world. So, and like I said, sometimes the motivations didn't really make sense in this movie. So he wants to kill Riri Williams. Now, why that doesn't make any sense, of course, is if she built one machine, surely they have some, and the U.S. government got their hands on it. Surely they have specs of the machine to make more, but that's neither here nor there. So that brings him into conflict with the Wakandans. The fact that obviously they don't want him to kill Riri Williams. A secondary story is he and Shuri, who is still upset about her brother's death, kind of are trying to determine if they should have an alliance and attack the surface world. Once again, a little bit shaky with the motivations there, since nobody in the world knew who Namor was, not even the Wakandans, until he actually showed himself, to them. So they go back and forth with that, for a little while, and then something happens to where Namor, the Wakandans, they can't, they can't find any middle ground. Something really big happens where like now they're at war, and then they have this big, fight at the end. Now, what I'm getting ready to tell you, you should have already figured out from the trailers, but this is kind of a medium spoiler. It's not one of the bigger ones, but Shuri ends up after this big event, this big part in the middle of the movie, decides that she's going to be the new Black Panther. That doesn't work for me, to be honest with you. It just, I don't know. Like, I know she becomes the Black Panther in the movies. It just seemed like for this movie, it would have been better off if she discovered the herb that gives you the powers of the Black Panther and passed that on to Nakia. You will kind of understand when you're watching the movie why, especially the end of the movie, you kind of understand why that probably would have made more sense to do it that way than to just give Shuri, make her the Black Panther. I don't know. It's just something I can't really put my finger on it. She just doesn't present that. I don't know what it is. It's really hard to explain. But while I was watching, I'm just like, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying her as a formidable opponent. I'm not buying her as someone that can lead an army, that could defeat Namor. It just didn't quite, work for me. Now, I will say this: the final third act battle is definitely better than what happened in the first Black Panther movie, where it was just kind of a CGI fest with T'Challa and Killmonger. This third act battle, very, very good. Looks very good. Speaking of the CG, a lot of people ask about the CG. Only a couple of times it looks a little wonky, but for the most part, it's very serviceable, considering that you're dealing with water people and Black Panthers and all this other type of crazy stuff. It looks pretty good. Overall, I would say, and then one other thing before I get to the ending, there is one post-credit scene. The post-credit scene is very, very important. Not necessarily important to the MCU. So, I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to see any new villains. You're not going to see Kang. You're not going to see any Avengers or anything like that. That's actually that's another thing that I thought was a little strange. T'Challa, passes away in the movie. You'd have thought some Avengers, maybe would have, shown up. I know it's not, so a lot of them are dead, but like Rhodey and Headman and some others, you would have thought maybe had, showed up. Captain America, I'm just saying, but no, none of them showed up. So yeah, that's not, there's no other heroes, let's just say. There are some surprise cameos, but no Avengers. But yeah, the post-credit scene doesn't set up anything Avengers wise or anything like that, but it does set up something very, very, very important in the Black Panther franchise that I think is going to make some people very, very happy who maybe didn't like the fact that they decided not to recast to T'Challa. I think you're going to like the post credit scene, but when you see it, you let me know. Overall, Ryan Coogler and all of the actors and actresses, once again, they had an impossible task. I was really concerned. I really didn't know how they were gonna, pull this off and make a movie without Chadwick Boseman that really kind of hit home. And I'll be 100% honest with you. You feel the weight of him missing throughout the movie. It's just kind of in the back of your mind. It's like, how much better of a movie would this have been if he was in it? Because I think Namor was going to be the villain, or I should say more the anti-hero the entire time. So I kept finding myself thinking about these interactions, or how it would have been with T'Challa and Namor. And so that does slightly, I would say, drag down the movie a little bit because it's hard to get that out of your head. But man, they had an impossible task and they really brought it and put it together. I think, it's just personal, I think Angela Bassett may get some Oscar consideration for her portrayal of Ramonda. My God, I mean, she was excellent. She was the highlight of the movie for me. If I was to go back and watch the movie again, it would be strictly because of Angela Bassett and her performance. It was that good. Ryan Coogler, we got to start mentioning him with some of the great directors of our time. Um, I mean, Chadwick Boseman was a close friend of his. This had to be very difficult for him to do. And then you're doing an MCU movie, you're doing Marvel, you're doing Disney. There's a lot of pressure on you. And I'll be honest with you, even with my little nitpicks here and there, the man knocked it out the park. So make sure you give him his flowers as well. So overall, Wakanda Forever, good movie, emotional movie, a lot of depth. They didn't forget the comedy. It's in there. It's not as much as your normal MCU movie, but it's not just all doom and gloom the entire time. It's almost 3 hours long, but it does feel like it's moving along at a quick pace. You don't feel like it's a little slow at the beginning, but I think that's understandable because they're dealing with the grief and the passing of T'Challa. But it's a solid it's a solid movie. I would say anything in Phase 4 besides Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, it's 100 times better than Thor. It's different than Multiverse of Madness and Doctor Strange. It's a different vibe, but it has the most depth and it's the most well thought out and it's the most, I would say, humanized movie that Marvel has come out with in Phase 4. So I think you're going to enjoy it. Hopefully you can go to Black Sports Online and you see my written review of the movie. Obviously, go out and support anything that has this many people of color in it. We need to always support that so we can get more movies like this made. RIP Chadwick Boseman. He literally, it's just somebody that just can't be replaced, not in this short period of time, but they still did an outstanding job. So I give it 8 out of 10 BSO stars. Probably, like I said, the second best movie that they've put out in Phase 4 besides Spider-Man No Way Home. But very, very good movie. And if you're a crier, bring some tissue.